So I'm going to talk about seat cradle and the seat cradle retrofit installation kit. This is the standard Toigo seat cradle. This is what will come in the package when you order the Toigo retrofit kit. So not only will you get that with the retrofit kit, you'll also get the adjuster bar. This adjuster bar mounts onto the seat cradle like this. It allows to slide left and right for easy adjustment that way. These same slotted tabs that are on this adjuster bar, those slotted tabs that bolt to these tabs, are also on the back of the seat cradle. So you can adjust the seat side to side very easily that way. The cradle already has built-in brackets to allow you to go forward and backwards. After I show you the parts, I'm also going to walk you through on an older car generally how we go about installing one of these cradles in that car. So we have the seat cradle, we have the seat cradle adjuster bar. You're also going to receive in this package with the cradle, you're going to receive the weldments that go on the car itself. And I will show you how those bolt to the cradle and how to use the cradle as a jig on the car. Also, you're going to get rubber washers. You're going to get two big ones that go on the back of the seat. I'll show you a little bit of that as well. You're going to get two little ones that go on top. Of the adjuster bar. They'll go up here in between the seat and the adjuster bar is where these little rubber ones will go. I'll show you that as well on a finished cart when we get to that. So you got those. Then you're going to get a bunch of hardware. You're going to get hardware that not only bolts the cradle into the weldments, you're also going to get bolts that bolt the seat itself, whatever seat you end up going with, to the cradle itself. And then you're going to get all of the hardware, washers, lock nuts, everything like that. One of the things I want to say, and you might hear me say it multiple times, is when you put this cradle in your car, the seat should be bolted solid to the cradle, but the cradle should be left just a little loose so that it can jiggle within the weldments so that it can allow the cart to transfer weight. If you bolt it solid, it will bind the cart. It usually will cause a hop. It's often a telltale sign of a hop is if someone has that cradle bolted solid. You should have those lock nuts just barely backed off so that you can jiggle that cradle within the chassis and allow it to transfer weight. Okay, so now I put the seat cradle into this car. If you look at the cradle and how I have it in the car, what I've done is I've taken this bracket and I've bolted it to the cradle over here. I've taken this bracket and I bolted it to the cradle over here on this side. Now, either of these brackets can go either direction. You'll have to determine what direction works best for your car, your chassis configuration. You can almost always find a way to put them on there that they get on the tubes in the way that you want them to get on the tubes. It's not really all that difficult. And then once you figure out where that's at, you want to bolt these semi-tight. Then you want to take the tube, the front tube, that this whole cradle is intended to rotate on. Remember, we're going to leave the cradle slightly loose on these weldments so that it can rotate on this front tube. This front tube, I obviously put it into the cradle. I push it up to the crossbar, and I just take an easy hand clamp and clamp it right here. And that's the only thing holding this. It works really, really well after doing hundreds of these. You just clamp that right there, it holds it. Now, what I would do next is I would mark where these are going to go. I would remove it. I would clean up all the powder coat, get all the powder coat off of there. Then I would put it back in again, get it set, clamp it down, and tack weld all of these little brackets. Once I have those brackets tack welded, what I want to do at that point is take the cradle back out and weld all these brackets on. One little pro tip that I would give you is that these brackets weld them obviously really well with a MIG. On this front tube, what I like to do is take my time welding that so I don't put too much heat into it. I want to start on the sides because I don't want the tube to move up and down on me to make it difficult to put the cradle back in. It's not too much to worry about, but just take your time welding this so you don't get too much heat in it and get it to actually draw that tube one direction or another. Now, let's say that we have this welded into the car. We have this all ready to go. We now have adjustment forward and backwards on this tube with these brackets. This cradle, for instance, is mounted about all the way back, which means that the adjustment we have in this cradle is forward. The next thing that you would want to do is get ready to install the seat. And how you go about getting ready to install the seat is the first thing that you need is the adjuster bar. The adjuster bar, once again, the slotted tabs go down. So you're going to take, you have two cradle bolts right here. You have a cradle carriage bolt, 1 and 2, right here. So you're going to get those in. And now you have your adjuster bar in, and it slides like I showed previously left and right really easily. There's nuts and washers and everything that obviously go on here. I'm not going to go through that. So once you have that, you're ready to start installing the seat. What you need to do to install the seat is you're going to need the other pieces that we started talking about earlier. You're going to need 2 more bolts and 4 more washers. The washers go here and here between the seat, okay? The seat should sit on these rubber washers so that it can flex. On the back of the cradle, you're going to have 2 long 2-inch Allen bolts. And you're going to have 2 of these large rubber washers that you're going to place back here between the seat and the cradle. The easiest way to install this seat is to set it in here, get it lined up with your driver and how you want it to sit within the cradle. Typically, you're going to want that seat as far left as possible within this cradle. Typically, you're going to want it all the way towards the camera, that way as far as possible. Then what you're going to want to do is get underneath of the car, and you're going to want to mark each of these holes on the seat. You're going to want to then go and drill these holes in the seat. So you'll drill these next after you have them marked. And then I would bolt this piece in. So take and get your seat bolts, take the small washer, and you're going to bolt the seat in. Now, you wouldn't want to do it that way. Obviously, you want to have this head going down through the seat so that you don't have that rub it into anybody, even though there's a pad. So you'd bolt the seat on this end. Now, that's the best way to do this because once you have this done, you can then figure out where exactly you need to bolt the back of the seat. Bolt the front lower half first. Then, when you're ready, you can essentially take the seat and push it back to where these are going to touch. And then you can essentially mark each hole on each side for the seat, drill the back of the seat, put the rubbers, washers in, take the bolts, and bolt the seat, once again, like this. Bolt the seat right to those brackets. That's about all there is to it. So we have a seat mounted in this car, and it's really difficult to see underneath the seat. I had described it in the last video, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like when it's mounted in the car. This is what the adjuster bar will look like. It will be mounted to the seat cradle with these 2 carriage bolts. It will be sitting in there, and between this seat and the adjuster bar, you're going to have 2 rubber washers. You're then going to take and go through the seat as this seat has. You can see the Allen's in there right now. And you're going to bolt this right to this adjuster bar and bolt it nice and tight. And then once you have that done, then you go and mount the seat to the back of the cradle. So now that we have the front bolted, what I would do then is push the seat back against these rubber pieces, take a pencil or a Sharpie, shove it through there and mark where the holes need to be placed in the seat, drill the seat, and then you can see you can just pull the seat back and put the bolts through. Now, these bolts are actually in the opposite way I would recommend doing it. We do it from the other side so that these don't stick out in the driver's back. Or you can just cut them off. It's no big deal. Either way, you want to get this and put the rubber washers here and bolt this nice and tight so the seat is nice and tight to the cradle. Then once again, remember that we need to leave the seat cradle needs to be able to jiggle within the brackets so that it can transfer weight. And that's it.